Well, good morning to Christopher Lee. Most people know Chris in the travel industry. He's been around for a little while, and he's pretty much known as Mr. Thailand, even though he's involved in other destinations. And first time I met you, Chris, was on a Thai fam press trip. Must be over 10 years ago now, which was a classic. How are you doing in this lockdown?
Yeah, personally, okay. I suppose the biggest adjustment I've made is I've never worked from home before. So I think it's week 6 now, they're working from home. So to set up a little office in my house, but I live down on the coast in Kent. And so no daily commuting to London for me now. And we've got lots of fresh air and the sea at the bottom of my garden. So actually it's been pretty good. I think it's about getting into a routine, and daily runs in the morning are my sanity, Graham.
Good. Well, that sounds encouraging. You're lucky to have all of those facilities around you. I think it must be more difficult if you're stuck at the top or in the middle flat of a block of 300 in the middle of Deptford or something. And no disrespect to people in Deptford. So let's get on to Thailand. What's the current status? I mean, is anybody going to Thailand at the moment other than returning friends and or relatives they would be?
Yeah, so international flights are suspended until the 31st of May currently. We just had an announcement a couple of days ago that domestic flights from Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Hat Yai, Khong Wang, which is the low-cost airport in Bangkok, have started again. So they're on the low-cost carriers. And then Bangkok Airways have announced that they'll be doing flights from Bangkok to Koh Samui from the 15th of May. So they're the sort of the early shoots of things starting to open up again.
So pretty much like any destination in the world, they're looking at domestic tourism to kickstart, if you like, at the beginning, and potentially just moving people around, going to your local restaurant, local hotel, and having a meal or going out or whatever. Is that the case?
Yes, that's right. I mean, it's no great surprise that again, domestic, followed by probably regional, will be the way we'll go. And that makes a lot of sense as well in terms of the way that COVID-19 sort of worked, because obviously this is different to others of the past, because I would feel like whether it was SARS or MERS or avian flu, these were things that were over there. From sitting in the UK, they were over there. Well, of course, this is different. It's over here. It's in Europe. So, and in Europe, much bigger now than Asia by a long stretch. So, quite a different perspective now. From Thailand's point of view, yes, of course, domestic, then regional, then international.
Okay. Over the past couple of weeks, we've heard, and we've probably run stories on it as well, about Thai tourism ministers saying that any international visitor is going to have to come with a certificate in the future and things like that. Again, for clarification, do you know exactly what the situation is, or was that just press speculation?
I think, we're still being worked on in terms of what the hotel looked like. But I think that's the same for most countries at the moment, is that trying to work out at what point will people get tested, therefore before they get on planes or the other side, and what sort of certification they may or may not have to bring with them. That hasn't been announced yet from Thailand, and to my knowledge, I don't think it's been announced anywhere else as well. So I think it's fair to say it's a work in progress.
Okay, given that, presumably all Thai tourism businesses are suffering very badly with no visitors, certainly no international visitors. Are the government, what are they doing in terms of helping those people, if anything? I think that most people are surprised about the comprehensive nature of the financial support the UK population has had. What are they doing in Thailand?
Yeah, this is a good question. I was keen to know that. I agree with you. I think the furlough system over in the UK has been a great opportunity to sort of give us a certain sense of calm, temporary financial stability anyway. I think on a personal level. So in Thailand, they've got a similar but slightly different, same but slightly different system. So look, tourism represents about 18% of GDP for Thailand. So the infrastructure going forward, it's very important that we maintain. So the government's introduced their version of a furlough system, which is a social insurance scheme, whereby staff, like hotel staff, for instance, can claim up to a certain amount, and that's paid directly from the government to the staff. So it's different, the furlough system, because it doesn't go via the employer. There's also business loans being made available, just like they have over here, to hotels and other elements of the tourism industry to see them through this time.
And coming back to the UK, have you started any discussions with any airlines about potential restart dates for international flights?
Yes, I've spoken to several of the airlines, and it obviously, the factors about when they're going to restart are about when are we allowed to leave the country, when are we going to be accepted into the country we want to go to, before the airlines can then sort of work out their schedules. But most of the airlines are, planning for flight capacity introductions, towards the end of the year, possibly as early as July. But again, that's dependent on the two factors I said. But I think it's fair to say that most airlines at best won't be seeing more than probably 50% capacity compared to the previous year by the end of the year.
Cool. Well, one of the things about regenerating tourism, and it's emerging very rapidly, that the key factors really, unsurprisingly, are safety and health. Now, let's assume for now that Thailand is coronavirus free, which is unlikely, but they're going to have fewer cases than most places. How do you intend to get that message across? Because in order to get that message across to the consumer, to the trade, to whoever, that's going to require money, and money is in short supply. So do you have any magic wand that you're going to waft here in the UK travel industry, or do you think that the government in Thailand will dig even deeper into their pockets to allow you to get that message across?
So in terms of last week, I think Thailand was the first country to announce a safety and health administration certificate. This is going to be basically a new initiative to give the consumer confidence in a code of conduct, if you like, for the tourism industry in Thailand in terms of the health and safety of the product that they're providing, including sanitization and safety and clinical. So that's, again, just launched last week. And I think that's going to be absolutely key. I agree with you. I think any recovery that we are going to get has to be on the back of consumer confidence in the country that they're going to, in terms of our ability to handle it. And it is important to point out that although Thailand was the second country after China to get COVID-19, but actually the levels of cases and the levels of deaths have been not in the same ballpark as Europe at all. And our government's sort of approach to, they call it curfew, we call it lockdown, has been, I think, stricter. And that's led to, again, a much better containment, I think, in terms of the numbers. So that puts us at a good start anyway. Good.
Now, have you been getting any reports from stakeholders in Thailand, via the tour operators, or even direct to hotel groups and so on? Are they going to be do you feel they're going to be in good shape, or are they just going to be dilapidated? They've had a whole season virtually written off. Where are we at with that?
So seasonality wise, we obviously got through January so in terms of our arrivals, we're up by about 1% in January, but obviously from February onwards that came down. We had a meeting. We have a thing called the Friends of Thailand Club, which is a club of all UK representatives and regional offices of hotels, airlines, DMCs and attractions. And we had our first virtual meeting on Zoom last Thursday, and we had 80 of them attend that, where we got the chance to lay out what we were up to for Thailand Tourism and our strategy, and also get their feedback. And we got a lot of feedback from them in terms of how they were preparing. So we asked them specifically about, how would your clients and would the people that you represent be preparing in terms of health and safety, and 88% of them said yes, they were actually focused on providing a better health and safety product. So I think that there is a lot of work being done to make sure that happens. So we did a series of these live polls throughout the meeting, which proved to be very interesting.
Coming towards the end of our conversation, do you think that and this is speculation and just your opinion really, that in this post-COVID world that people will appreciate travel more? In fact, that rather than necessarily going back to a bigger travel industry, we might be going back to a better travel industry where people appreciate the people they're visiting, the people who welcome you into their homes in effect, and particularly in Thailand where people are so friendly anyway, but they welcome you into their little villages, and people will appreciate that and those gestures a lot more than perhaps they've done in the past 10 years, where travel has become almost, in the Western world, it's become a rite, it's become a habit, it's become, why aren't I going on holiday 3 times a year, and oh yeah, I'm going to Thailand, It's a massive thing when you think about it, to go to Thailand in holiday. It was just unbelievable. And I think when those sorts of privileges are withdrawn from you, you miss them even more. It's like anything. And you may appreciate them more when they come back. That's my opinion, but I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I suppose my biggest passion right now is I think I wouldn't want to join the chorus of people telling us exactly what people are going to think, what people are going to do, and in what numbers, because I think at best we're guessing. So we've got, I believe on those opinions should be based on a little bit more on data. But if I've got a passion for the travel industry as a whole, it would be that we have got a chance to reset a little in terms of the way we do business. Because as an industry, we've become an industry of numbers over the last few years, where it's just been about driving more and more and more people to take more and more holidays. And actually with the travel industry, whether it's the tour operators, travel agents, making less and less margin, less and less money. So perhaps the utopia for me will be that perhaps we will get a slightly smaller industry in terms of numbers, but perhaps more appreciative, yes. But actually prepared to pay a decent price for a decent product. And I think this is important. So again, when we did the survey of our suppliers, it's just 80 people, but it's 80 people, about what they thought was going to be the answer going forward. None of them, not one of them, thought we should be looking at discounted prices to lure the market back again. I think that's important. I think that's setting really the theme for the way I hope we'll recover.
That's an interesting point, because there's been lots of press coverage over the last 3 weeks about tour operators in particular not paying back deposits and stuff like that, and it to me it illustrates the fragility of many respects of the travel industry and the way it's been run, and also the fact that rather than build a brand, which obviously Thailand has a massive brand image of friendliness, of exotic, of good food, of unbelievable levels of service within the accommodation sector, that people would rather spend money on Google clicks, no disrespect to Google, but they would rather spend money on £5 a click and discount their holidays so that they're getting a wafer thin margin, rather than building brands and building quality products. I mean, I've been to so many conferences in the last 4 or 5 years where the quality of the experience once on holiday in a destination is never discussed at all. It's all about, we've built a new hotel with 500 bedrooms, we've got this, we've got that. It's all about construction, it's all about numbers, as you quite rightly say. And I would like to think that in particular Thailand, which was one of my first long haul overseas trips other than to America, would be different. And I hope you're right about that. Do you think there's anything you can, not you as an individual, but you as a destination, you as a tourism board can do to engender that?
Well, we'd like to think really that, one of the big questions is, does our strategy change? Are we going to sort of change our product offering. But I don't think so, because from our perspective, you know, if you look at what the emphasis has been from Thailand in these last few years, it has been a bigger emphasis on responsible tourism. It has been an emphasis more on quality tourism, on community-based tourism, on things which I think were seen probably as more niche approach in the past. But I think if there's one thing that's going to happen is that, well, people talk about the new normal. I'd like to talk about the new context. And the new context of what we've just been through, I think, will give things like responsible tourism and community-based tourism and enjoying the experiential products and the whole eating, the eating and the gastronomical sort of side of things, I think, will have even more importance. So we don't believe we're changing strategy, but just giving it even more context going forward.
That's very good. Well, Chris, thank you very, very much for your time this morning. I appreciate you coming on, getting up so early. I know you don't normally get up before midday, so this has been a privilege for you and for me. So I look forward to having a couple of singers and a pud pack down in downtown Bangkok before too long.
Good, mate. Thank you, Graham. Cheers.
Cheers.